On Loose Lines, and we're back. And Daniel, I'm getting in before he does it to me again. It's dark, it's late, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, everyone else is having time off, but Toby wants to crack jokes at the wrong time. Can you believe him? Gentlemen, welcome, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Paul.
Happy New Year to you, Paul. And if 2021 goes anything like it was for you last night, it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
I got something for you that I was thinking about, right? And I wrote it down. When someone in Australia gets asked how they are, you always say you're one level above what you actually are. So if you're terrible, you'll say you're bad. If you're bad, you'll actually say you're average. If you're average, you'll say you're okay. If you're okay, you'll say you're good. If you're actually good, you'll say you're great. And if you're great, you'll say you're terrific. We always go one level above. So if someone ever says to you, or you say to someone, here you go, and they'll say, I'm okay, then they're actually going average, Paul. But I'm going great, which means I'm good.
I saw that on the run sheet, and I'm like, what is that? And now I'm... I got nothing.
You think about that. You think about that during the week, and if someone ever says to you that they're going okay, just in the back of your mind, think that person's going average.
Well, what happens when someone says they're spendifless?
They're broke.
Daniel, how'd you spend Christmas? I saw, unfortunately, you had a sad passing yesterday, I believe it was, with the passing of one of your beloved pets. But other than that, I hope you had a very safe and happy Christmas.
Yeah, it was unfortunately we had to put the old boy Gil down. He had a bit of cancer that was not going to improve, so we just took the right step and sort of made it a bit easier on him. But other than that, yeah, good Christmas. Good time to duck over and see the folks. And yeah, it's been good to have a bit of a few days off. Got to go back to work tomorrow for another week, and then get 3 weeks leave, which will be good. But I'll be even busier during the 3 weeks leave. So yeah, looking forward to a bit of time at home though.
Absolutely. The border closing and opening, you probably won't be sure where you stand, but every day's a new day with COVID by the looks.
Yeah, well, I had to go to Finley last on Saturday to drop young Patrick off up there, and then came back, and I got into Tocumwal about 20 past 2, got into the queue, and I didn't get out of the queue until 20 past 4. So it took me 2 hours to drive about 5K. I listened to a lot of races. I had the sunroof was opening, trying to get some air in. It was horrible. Like I understand the reasons behind it. I get it, but for locals, it was just an absolute nightmare. And it was just 2 hours that I'll never get back. And it was just something. It's like being a traffic jam in Melbourne, but you're in the bush.
Just thinking that period of time, Paul, you could have brought a horse back that hasn't raced for a couple of years and got it fully fit and won a race with it.
and retired. And retired him again as well at the same time, and he still wouldn't have been across the bridge by then. Tobes, how did you spend Christmas?
About right.
I had the family here, the kids here in the morning, and then off down to Clare's, and then we went on a bit of a road trip. We did Ballarat Boxing Day night. Then we stayed in Lance Field, and then we stayed in Millwall at Brown Brothers there for a couple of nights, Paul. Went to the Hurdle Still Gin Distillery. Absolutely magnificent. A little headache the next morning and afternoon, but apart from that, it was absolutely magnificent. One bottle left, so we'll have to have it sometime.
I think, I'm a soak, so you guys can have it between yourselves. You don't have to worry about that. Paul Dobson from Kelly Partners, I think I've seen him rave about that once before on social media as well. Exactly that. You go to Brown's Brothers, I'm thinking they're going to start talking about the wine, but the gin distilleries and the likes. And I'm pretty sure it was Dobbo. Someone anyway has recently posted that. I see today, mate, we were doing cooking classes as well.
You were?
You were.
They do
No,
cooking
you were.
classes there.
You were doing cooking classes with the kids, weren't you?
Oh, with the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. I always cook with the kids. I've done that forever. It's something they enjoy doing, Paul. We're making frozen cookies today.
Tobes, my beautiful daughter, she has a fascination with me chest hairs, and I've got to get rid of them for her and all the rest. How do the kids go with the eyebrows?
Eyebrow, don't exaggerate. There's only one. But Oliver's a very special boy, as you would know, Paul.
Yep.
So he's heavily autistic, and he actually likes the feeling of something coarse like an eyebrow. And if he had his way, he would sit and rub my eyebrow like this for hours on end, and it drives me. Well, I was going to say it drives me mad, but I'm too far gone already.
The things we do for our kids, mate, we never worry about it, so it doesn't worry us one bit, does it?
Yeah. After a couple of hours, it wears a bit thin. Unfortunately, not literally.
What about any feedback? Do we have any feedback this week, Tobes?
No, didn't get any correspondence. I'm hoping for some more correspondence. timberfence@gmail.com. Maybe I'll put that in the comments down below for people. So I'd like to get some letters coming in, particularly if they include images of Paul doing this one.
And if they want to, just leave comments down the bottom and we will include them anytime we want. We might end up going back live one day and then people can actually start typing back into us. And Steve from Blacktown might be able to get his resumption back. He loved it. I can tell you that. So I saw him at Bendigo and he loved it. He's like, who's it? And then he realised exactly who it was. So we've got one happy fan out there, which is always good, isn't it?
More than that, I tune in each week and I love the show.
Oh, we got one angry one too. Thanks for the redhead heads up. Did I get some nasty correspondence from one Tara Youngson?
Yeah, I saw the bus coming and saw you standing there on the side of the road and I thought, here's a little push.
Made sure it backed over me 3 times and went forward again. There's not a worry in the world there. I didn't see that one coming. I was like, whoa. So, yep. But anyway, all in good fun. So, yeah. And unfortunately, that redhead was scratched again last night, but that's the joys of her. So, she's one of them horses. But anyway, she'll be fine. We'll get there. Rightio. Notables. Gentlemen. Now, I've got them in order. The first one, I believe, because I can't see the run sheet, unfortunately. The way we do the run sheet here with the boys, it's a little bit different. I don't mind it. It just leaves me flying a little bit blind. But I'm pretty sure our first notable for the week was actually David Moran and Lochinvar Art. And I think it was open to both of you for your own input because before either of you guys start, sensational. I've never seen anything like it. I think we don't realise exactly what he did the other night. I think it was just breathtaking. The demolition he did of some quality horses made him look second rate, doing it at half speed by the looks of him. I just think it was breathtaking. Either of you guys want to go, doesn't worry me. Tobes, you go first if you like, and we'll finish with Daniel.
Yep. He's the best horse in Australia, Paul, and it almost seems unfair, really, that the best horse in Australia goes around in a 4-year-old Vic-bred heat. And I know on another show I do, Jason Bonington and I discussed whether it should be 4-year-old and older, may as well be nearly now, and include all the horses that were Vic-bred 4-year-old and older. It'd be a great race, but almost unfair the way he treated them with contempt. And they were good horses still, don't worry about that. And he just blew them away. And on that show on SEN Track Trot's Life, when we had David Moran on, he talked, and I know you said he's spoken to you about it, but he's really talking about America this year after March as a genuine option for him to go over there for 6 months, which would be a massive thing if he did that. Can you imagine? So he wins a couple of Interdominions and a Miracle Mile, and he's as good as Black's a Fake and our Savant's a lot and some of our best horses. But can you imagine you add Conquering America onto that? That sets him apart from all those other horses. I'm not necessarily saying better, but it would set him apart and give him that point of difference. I I'd love for him to go. I reckon it'd be awesome.
On that, and we'll throw to you, sorry, Daniel, in a sec. Lazarus. We all remember Lazarus as this superstar horse. Went to America and he won. Now he's standing at stud and he's already fading away out of our memories. He's a distant memory. Like now we've got Kings of Swing and Lochinvar Arts and all these horses. Retiring them to stud doesn't necessarily help them. I reckon go, and I reckon stay. Don't come back. Don't go for 6 months. Stay for a couple of years. Give him a year or two to get acclimatised and go from it. I don't know where Dave could do that with his kids and get away for that period of time, but geez, I'd be tempted to leave him over there. Like, he's only a 4-year-old. Race him through to he's a 6, 7-year-old over there and just see what he can achieve, because he's breathtaking. And I'm not downplaying who he's by and what he's out of, but he was a $40,000 yearling at a going sale. So he was a lovely type who got over the ground good, but no one flocked to him for his breeding. So, it's not like he's going to be standing at stud at a King's Ransom, you wouldn't think anyway, when you look at some of the horses that are bred in Australia at the minute. So, I agree with you, Tobes. I'd be going. Daniel, your thoughts? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable run. I mean, the only issue obviously was always going to be the start and whether he was going to have enough speed to kick through and hold out Hurricane Harley, and that sort of, you could tell after about 100 metres or so he was just going to do enough. And I mean, that was the end of the section for Hurricane Harley, and it was the end of the section pretty much for the rest of them as well. I mean, he's got 151.80 last mile and a half in 54, and he's done it, with David waving to the crowd halfway up the straight. So, I've said it for the whole of this year that I thought he was the best horse. I know all that debate with Ride High and everything, but I still thought that this guy was still the best one. I thought Ride High was exceptional, but I just thought that this guy had something about him. I know he's been beaten a couple of times, but that happens. But certainly when he gets things, he can do it tough, and when he gets things his own way, he is unbeatable. But he can do it tough as well, and that's the thing you like. And if he was to go to the States, well, if he was to stay here, he would dominate essentially for the next 2 years. I think if everything was everything was good with him. If he thought that you could make a mark in America in some of those big races, I mean, you'd be foolish not to have a crack. And as you say, his breeding's not over the top. It's not like he's bred to exceptional bloodlines, and he's going to be demanding a pretty penny at stud. So, they've got time for that if they want to go to stud, but you only get to race for, 6 or 7 years. He's only 4. You might as well go and have a crack at it if you want, and see what happens, because, he's a big fish in this small pond over here, and I think if he went over there, he'd be still a pretty big fish.
Yeah. Tobes, I don't like your idea of the 4-year-old and older. I just think... I like the idea of honouring the older horses, especially a horse that does find its bit of form, but I just think they get 3 years. It's an incentive to make people want to breed Victorian and all the rest. So you say that next year Lochinvar Art comes back as a 5-year-old, so the 3-year-olds that are racing now, they've got to front up against Lochinvar Art the year after that. Like, it might be 3 or 4 years they're constantly fronting up to Lochinvar Art as well. So I think just keep it to the 4-year-old. But I don't disagree with you. Have an open 4-year-old and an open 4-year-old mares race would mean a 14-race program. I wouldn't care. If you got some of the best Vic bred horses, and that might be an incentive to keep some of them, especially the mares where there's no Group 1s for them. So just another thought that I had just sitting there thinking about it.
What if Ride High is a 5-year-old and taking on Lochinvar Art in that race the other night? How good would it have been?
Oh, I don't disagree, but they're actually the same age, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's just a right age. No. Oh, no, I totally agree. I understand it, but the flip side of it is going back. If we don't think Lochinvar Art can be beaten for a few years, the 3-year-olds coming through this year, that's a little bit of a fly in the ointment for those guys. So it's
depends when it's run a little bit too, because it's going to be the end of the year in December each year. They're pretty much they're 5-year-olds really.
Yep.
So we're playing with 5-year-olds anyway. So the best horses are going to get a lot better.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Each year in that 4-year-old division, the top 4 or 5 are just going to be Grand Circuit horses taking on the rest.
Yep.
Don't know. Interesting thought.
It is, but yeah, every year is a different year, so it's one of those ones. We'll keep going on these. We probably will talk about the other night and that going forward. The next person up is Freddy Spatieri, which was a huge effort. I'm not sure which one of you guys was talking about this. As I said, I don't have my run sheet. Once we start this, I do, because I know I just got to alternate. But Daniel's putting his finger up, so it's Daniel to talk about it. This is a brilliant training performance by Freddy Spatieri. 4 horses in the final, and well done to him taking out the final.
Yeah, it is a remark. I mean, you think with Emma and that having 5 and running, I think the first 5 in one of the fillies races, which is an outstanding achievement on own. But to have 4 horses in the 3-year-old filly trot is a hell of an achievement, and it's particularly for a small trainer. Like, he's not likely. It's not like he's got 50 horses in work or anything like that. He's
6.
Probably got a small team.
He's got 6.
4 of them are 3-year-old trotters. So to get 4 of them into the final, and I mean 3 of them were 150 to 1, but that's not the point. He's still got 4 into the final. This one was about a 12 to 1 shot, which was a legitimate chance. And to say it got lucky is probably an understatement, but it did. It wasn't going to win the race. It was definitely going to run second. I've got no doubt that it still would have run second. But that's the thing that happens in trot races when horses break, and the unexpected can happen, and that's exactly what happened turning to home. And it picked clear, and of course nothing was going to make ground on the times that they were running. So look, it's a fantastic achievement to get 4 into the race. It's an even better achievement to win it, and well done to him. I'm sure it's a feather in his cap, and he's probably sitting there thinking it's all his Christmases had come at once, because certainly got lucky, but you take it and you take the win and run with the money.
Absolutely, he's a great man. He's just this. He's a lovely guy to talk to. He's got a horse that I bred. He still races there. He's got all these young trotters that are coming through. They're beautifully bred and all the rest. But he'll always still talk to me about let's go low high every time he sees me, and that's him and his partner. She's been referred to her as a partner, and we've got to know her name. Tobes, any joy on... I can't think. I think it's Carol, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll get myself in the trouble for that. But Tobes, you got no idea? No. Raised eyebrow. Raised eyebrow. Just a little side note. Just a little side note. He actually had 5 horses in the other day. I'm just trying to find the last horse. But he had 5 horses in on that heat day. So he had 6 horses in work. The horse of ours was the other one that didn't qualify. Wasn't there. She's a pacer. And yeah, he's got 6 in work, and 5 of them went around that day, and I can't find the last one. So yeah. And very quickly, Daniel, you say about having some luck and got to trot and do everything. She galloped away in her heat too, don't worry. She possibly could have won a heat. She missed it about 25, 30 metres on that day as well. So, yeah, she was far, far from disgrace, and I can't find that other horse that he had in. But that's okay. Toby.
One comment on... Yeah, go, Dan.
I was just say, you got to feel for Jodie as well with Illawong Stardust. I mean, it was, she's had a lot of unlucky, well, I guess hard luck in some of those big races. I know a few years ago with Illawong Armstrong, like, he ran into LJK Phoenix and just couldn't get, he won just about everything except, I think, the Homegrown Classic. And she just kept running second to him. And then she gets, this guy, she had Illawong Barmer as well. And then this guy, so it's just so close on so many occasions. And I just hope that this filly, just becomes a bit more tractable, and she can, certainly win some bigger races going forward.
Tobes, have you got
honourable mention to Black and Gold, Paul, for Brett Shipway ran about 7th in the race. It was by his own home brand stallion, out of his own home brand mare, and hence he named it Black and Gold.
I don't know if you heard the heat call, but Lukey, got himself a bit befuddled and called it Black and Gold. Red and black, or so. He just got himself into a horrible diver, and the likes got himself upside down. So yeah, I'm getting race day inspection. The bride's just walked in and just checking out what I'm up to. I don't know what she's doing. Well, whatever she's. Hey. Don't worry about the trainer.
trainer.
Don't worry about the trainer, the boss. It's all good. Just for the record, on the Fred Spatieri thing, the other horse he had in on that day was Champagne Charlie, who was in a bad mood and misbehaved and actually came out and won its next start at Cranbourne. So Freddie's having a really, really good run. I knew he's a lovely little horse, that pretty little horse that he actually bred. So, yeah, that's for sure. I think Jody Quinlan does a great job with some of those horses because you don't realise how much hard work they are. And I saw David Miles bought one of the Illawongs, and he had no joy at all at Maryborough on that occasion either. They are a handful of a breed, that's for sure. Tobes, this is a great story, mate. Is that a bid? I know it's Rodney Petros' first Group 1. Is this you, Tobes? You're shaking your head, or is this Daniel?
No, it isn't a bid. I'm not buying nothing.
Don't do that to me. Rodney Petros' first Group 1 winner. And I'm not sure, is it Mickey's? No, it's not. Definitely not Mickey's first one, because this horse has actually won a Group 1. No, this horse won the homegrown. Is that a bid with Zach Phillips driving him? So I definitely know it's not his first. This horse has actually won 2 Group 1 wins. So, yeah. I was actually working at Melton that night.
No, not his first.
Yeah.
He's been a terrific little horse, hasn't he? He led and won that homegrown, and there's a bit of a theme to him. He's had 26 starts, 5 wins, 14 placings, and 5 fourths or fifths. So he's been, what's that, 24 out of 26 he's earned a check. He led and won the homegrown, as you just mentioned. He led and ran second in the Vic Bred as a 2-year-old. He led and ran second in the Derby. No, led and won the homegrown. Led and second in the Redwood. I'm going the wrong direction. Led and run third in the 2-year-old.
Not the last time you'll be told this.
Led and second in the Derby heat. Led and second in the Vic Bred heat, and then led and won the final. He's just got great manners. Gets out, leads. And he's the sort of horse, if anything's good enough, it'll beat him. But if all the others, he'll beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
He's not necessarily the best horse in the race, but he'll beat all, and he consistently beats all the ones he should.
Yeah. One of the things I love about being able to do Trot's Vision, and I know you know from a judge, and you know you get to see some of these horses up close and up personal and all the rest. There is no wow factor about Is That a Bid? He's a lovely horse, but there's no wow about him. He's just a plain Jane that just gets out and does the job, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, which is funny because the mother, Elusive Charm, she was a beautiful chestnut.
Yeah.
She won the Redwood many, many years ago for the great man, David Scott, who you know a fair bit about. He bred the horse, Is That a Bid? And I reckon he bred Elusive Charm as well. So he's had a great success with breeding trotters, and great little success story for David Scott as well, who's had a lot to do with Mick Hughes and the Cranbourne Training Centre over the journey.
And I know Dave's got all his mares in file, so he's reasonably happy with that as well. From one good story with the trotters to another great story with the trotters, I'm glad I don't have to throw to him for this one. Don't Care, Daniel, with Kate Hargraves and Alex Ashwood, and what a season these guys have had. But this is a great little story, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a very good story. A horse. It's actually funny. I saw something on Twitter. There's obviously the horse went through the sales. Kate and that was trying to sell the last couple of shares on it on Twitter, and I think they obviously were able to do that. But to get a horse to from the sales and then to win the victory for the 2-year-old trotters is an amazing effort. Very good, very nice horse. He's 12 starts now for 5 wins, and he's won a heat and a final. So to win the heat and the final is a great achievement. And it was a tough, an interesting race. It was sort of a couple of errors and that sort of thing throughout the early on. But Alex got it into a decent enough spot. Got a bit tight there turning for home when he was able to get out, and I think Chris sort of was thinking that he might have got a bit of interference, but he was able to kick clear on it and was able to hang on and win. Watching the free-to-air coverage, Tima Franny actually tipped it on top, so I'm sure that there would have been punters out there that would have got on Tima's tips, and it's paid $8 on the tote. So, a beautiful-looking horse and just did the job well. And for Kate and Alex, I mean, it pretty much capped probably the perfect season for them. I mean, they won a size semi the week before. Had a look, 118 winners all up for the year, and pretty much a 50% strike rate in terms of running in the top 4 with their horses. So I mean, that's a hell of an achievement. I think the only one better is obviously Emma. I think sitting on about 69%. I think Andy's on about 60% of runners finishing in the top 4. So it's a cracker of a year for them both. They've they've worked themselves silly. I think the amount of travel that they've done, but they've got the rewards, and to win to get $50,000 prize money for winning a Vicbred race makes it all worthwhile. And I guess the other thing with that free-to-wear coverage, you actually got to see Kate, and the owners, celebrating in the owners area there, and that was great to see on free-to-wear TV. Like, people understand, you can buy a horse, you can race a horse, and if it's any good and you can win a race, that's the sort of feeling you get, and that was really great to see on the telly on 7 Mate on New Year's Eve.
There's a terrific backstory, Daniel, to actually this horse going through the sale, and I might let you explain, Tobes, about being a fundraiser. But Pat Driscoll, no, Tobes is blank. Pat Driscoll donated this horse. He actually put the horse through the sale, with all proceeds of the sale of this horse was going to the Terang. This is a horse, Tobes.
Terang.
Yeah. Sorry, Tobes, I thought you knew that. Yeah, this is a horse. So all proceeds. So we don't mention enough. Like we're just talking about before about Fred Spatieri and the breed of horses he's got, because he's got this association with Pat Driscoll and Yabby Dam Farms and what they're doing. This horse was a donation. All money raised then went to the building of their stable complex at Terang. So he donated it. I did a lot of the back work behind to make sure that people were aware that the horse was there. So he's a real feel-good story, this horse. And he's by a stallion. Duncan McPherson keeps telling me hot to trot and all the rest. Used to me, I think he stands for $1,500. And he is soaring winners everywhere. They're a little bit headstrong. So are the Sky Valleys. So is Majestic Sons. It don't matter what trotter you get nowadays. They're headstrong. They're not kids' ponies. He's doing a great job, and I think he's a really good story. Sorry, Tobes, I thought you were aware of that, so I was just going to throw to you. But, you know the story now. But, he's definitely that horse. So, yeah.
And the older sibling, the one a year above, is a bit of a dreamer who he gave away as well.
Did he really?
Pat Driscoll gave a bit of a dreamer to a lady from South Australia whose name just escapes me, Paul.
Okay, I believe you.
She trains a bit of a dreamer.
Kim
Anyway,
Kim Proctor.
Yeah.
Kim Proctor that won on Hembo Day.
Yeah.
He won on Hembo Day at when I was there. Did too.
Correct.
Yep, spot on. I actually knew that because they both raced that time. Or no, he couldn't have. Don't care because he won his first race. But anyway, Toby McKinnon, Kimball. I'm sure we've got a couple of one-liners coming up here. But I'm not 100% sure, mate. $99 winner for Matt Craven. I've been working on that one, Daniel.
I've got a fair bit of unusual stuff about this horse, Paul, would you believe?
Yes.
Kimball for Matty. He had 9 starts, this horse. I didn't write it down, actually. He had 9 starts without winning a race. He ran in the heat last week, finished 3rd or 4th, goes then into Hamilton or Horsham the next day and wins at Horsham. 6 days later, comes out 7 days later and wins the final at $99. Unbelievable. Great story for Chris and Jeanette O'Connor, who are the owners of the horse. They purchased the mother out of New Zealand many years ago. She had 9 or 10 starts, won a heat of the Victorian Oaks, ran 5th in the final in the Victorian Oaks, went up to Queensland, ran 4th in the Gold Coast Oaks, and unfortunately she broke down. They brought her back. Their place is the really nice property just over the road from Terang.
Oh, yeah, the gate entrance.
Yep, just over the road from the gate entrance. They were the ones that came up with the additional stake money or sponsored the race at Terang, the Gammalite Cup. So they were involved with Christian's Bus Company in the additional prize money. And, of course, Chris is Leo O'Connor of Gammalite fame's son. So the people that put into their community, they put into their harness racing community, and it was great to see a horse like Kimball win. That's my first main point. My second one is
before you go too far, Tobes, that is what we want to do on Loose Lines. Bring the stories that other people aren't aware of, because that is just a brilliant story, mate. Well done. You do some homework from time to time, I must say. Now I've thrown your train of thought. You might have had a one-liner to go in there. I just thought I'd stem you it a bit.
No, I got a secret squirrel down at Terang that knows that story very well, Paul. Now, Yeah, so I'm wrongly accused is the family of a horse called Bribery, who led to Entice. Then the granddam was gross misconduct, and then the mother, who's a bet as the light, mind you, is I'm wrongly accused. Now, there was a movie once called The Fugitive, and the main actor in the main actor was Harrison Ford, and he played a man called Dr. Richard Kimball. And he was a doctor who was accused, wrongly accused of murdering his wife. Tommy Lee Jones is the copper. And I'm going to spoil the ending for you. He manages to, he's on the run as a fugitive, and he manages to explain how he got out of it. So to have a horse by Western Terror out of I'm wrongly accused and caught Kimball is a massive tick, because that stuff, that's just what I live for, Paul.
Daniel, I think it proves how entrenched he was to get that all right. I came out with a one-armed thing and it just went straight over your head at the start. You'll have to watch it back, Tobes. And you didn't even... Yeah. It's just gone straight past you. I'm disappointed, but it's good. He's going to have to watch replays in a second.
My daughter got up, Paul, when she came down because my 3 kids are here tonight, so I was a bit distracted there for a minute.
Very, very good. Daniel, John Newbury and Diamond Eclipse. If you're right, Tobes, we can keep going if you need to do something, mate, but you're right. Diamond Eclipse and Johnny Newbury, mate.
Yeah, we'll just go off the Vic Bred finals train for 1 tick. Well, Diamond Eclipse won at Echuca on New Year's night. and we mentioned this in the trial courses to follow. Briefly last time, it had trialled well at Shep and it trialled well at Cobram, and it won brilliantly at Echuca. Thank you very much. It won well at Echuca then on New Year's night, led all the way. It's a half to Diamond Ace, who was obviously John's pin-up horse there for a while. It always had brilliant gate speed, was able to lead from pretty much any barrier you drew. And this guy led comfortably from 3 on New Year's night. So got a bit to learn still, I think, but he put away a couple of handy horses behind it. So I think there might be a bit of potential there with that one. And it was pretty easy in the markets, but I think some people got on board and backed it. So well done to the Newberries. They put a lot of time and effort into their horses, and good to see them get a nice win.
I was working Kilmore the other day, and Lockie McIntosh alluded that they may have moved the Majestic. Obviously, won first up for Brett Lilly and the crew, but Lockie was saying that they farmed off a few of their older horses, try and make way for some of the younger stock, which is good as well. So yeah, yes, Tobes.
Daniel said that on our show, you clown.
Well, I was just reiterating it. I'm sorry. I'm the chief clown. You've got to be careful. You can't just call me clown. It's Sir Clown.
don't. I love Lockie to bits. As you know, he was man crush number 1, I think, wasn't he? Lockie McIntosh.
Yeah.
So we can't. Daniel broke. That was breaking news on Loose Lines, Paul.
Mate.
Diamond Cove, beautiful part of the Gold Coast too.
Right.
Little resort there, absolutely magnificent.
Toby, I have thrown to you with the next one, which is just a heartwarming story. And on the run sheet, you boys only put Kate Gaff, but I've actually included Emma Stewart in this as well with Tough Tilly. I think it's just, I don't think we have to say too much. It'll be interesting what the one-armed man comes up with, though, I must say. We'll see what he says.
Why am I the one-armed man? I've missed this.
Kimball. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. Just what have you got for us with Tough Tilly, mate, apart from it being a great story, which it really is? Raising awareness for EB the best way.
Well, all of that bit's done to death, Paul, but I've had a bit of fun with Kate Gaff and Andy over the past couple of weeks, because I thought if this horse wins this final, there'll be a movie about it. There has to be a movie about it. The story behind it. My mum owned a horse in the race, and she told me she was hoping Tough Tilly would win. Now, that's how much the whole story meant to her. She only got a tiny percentage in moments like these, who's effectively run 7th to 6 Emma Stewart and a Brooke Wilkins horse, so it's gone pretty well. But this could be a movie, and then, it's who plays who. I had Michael J. Fox playing Andy Gaff, because he just won't stand still. He wanders around everywhere. We've got Reese Witherspoon Witherspoon's only 5'1", so Kate reckons that she might be too short to play her, but I'm sure she'd settle on Reese Witherspoon. I've got that creepy weird guy from last week to play you, and we're speaking to George Clooney, and he's signed up to play me.
I thought we were going with the American Pie Man. I wish I'd have known that's where you were going with this. I wasn't sure. So anyway, rightio, very quickly.
It's more like you leave every week.
And just for the record, it is a great story. I know it's been done to death, but I think it's a great story. And we've got to realise the reason that Ben Studd got involved and put this horse up for grabs is that Craig Judd and his ex-wife now, their daughter suffers from the EB as well. So it's not just about Tilly, it is about all the kids suffering with this disease that has got one of the worst names you could ever go. I'm not even going to try and say it. We'll just call it the EB disease. And I think they're definitely doing their part for raising awareness. So get on there and type in EB research, and you'll be moved to tears. I've got no doubts about it. Daniel, Central Victorian Trotters Championship today, and it was Vogue-esque, hanging on a dream. Keefe Douglas and Neil McCallum, mate. What a run.
It was an incredible race, Dan. I mean, it was pretty much over by the time they'd gone off the back straight the first time. He was 20 metres in front. He was 20 metres in front after they'd gone off the back, and I think Pecca must have thought, it must have been a false start or something because they were that far behind him. He didn't go ridiculously quick. He just let the mare do whatever she wanted to do out in front. She just rolled along and she kept that margin the whole way. And on such a tight track as Port, there's no camber, so you can't sort of get any fly off the corners or anything like that. It made it virtually impossible for the rest of them to catch her. And won comfortably. Just having a look here, the winning margin, 20 metres, smack bang on 20 metres, the winning margin. And I dare say he was probably in front by that margin most of the way. It was a hell of a drive by Pecca. He probably doesn't get the opportunities, and I know he sort of said that in the post-race interview. He sort of doesn't drive as much as he probably did 15 years ago, I suppose. But he still knows how to steer him, and that was a great win for him and for Keith as well. One of the elder statesmen of the sport. I mean, it wasn't a vintage race by any stretch of the imagination, but you just you get the cards that you're dealt, and they made a full use of it today, and well done to them.
Absolutely, Topes.
Yeah, it was a bit glorious finale-esque, wasn't it? If you remember back to one of the Bort Cups not long ago, Jackie Barker jumped straight to the front, went sort of 10 or 15 metres clear. The main chances in it were like Covelli, Finn, and something else like Jericho's Trumpet off 20 metres.
Yep.
And she just went that hard the whole way. They never even tacked on at any stage.
The only difference that day...
It was
But that day, I think Jackie got home in about 32, whereas today Pecca still got home in 30 and a half or something like that. Like, he rated it, as Daniel said, he just rated it smick. One thing, it's easy to say and all the rest, and young drivers don't have to do this as much anymore, but for the first 3/4 of that lap, because I was watching, I'm thinking, is he going to have a look or is he just going to keep letting this roll? And he was just watching the trotter, making sure that it was comfortable in its gait. It was nearly a full lap before he had a look to see where everyone else was. And then he didn't change. He still just kept driving the horse. It wasn't like he said, well, I'm 25 in front, I'll grab hold or I'll keep running. He just had a look just to see where they were. He was just so centric on making sure that horse was doing what he wanted it to do, and then he let the rest of it work out afterwards. No, it was a gun drive, and he doesn't show a lot of emotion or anything else like that, but when I suggested that maybe his old man might have been sort of smiling upon the way he got it away from the stand, I saw a bit of a glint in his eye. I reckon he sort of probably thought, yep, he probably would be proud. It is a skill that is quickly leaving our sport in very quick manner. But, when you see blokes like him that have still got it, still know how to get it away, and if they get on the right horse, that just won the race. It was just ridiculous how easy he did that. So, well done. And he was a good interview, Peck. I think he enjoyed the interview, actually. So, stuck out on the track. Oh, sorry, Danielson, I just changed all your screen up there for a minute. It'll fix up in a second. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong mouse pad. Toby, I'll throw to you because this is one of your love childs. I'm sure he's come up onto your radar from time to time. James Herbertson and 180 winners. The love bug. The love bug. You thought I was going the other one.
I think you're going Aaron Dunn. Give me a spell. Oh, love child.
Steve from Blacktown will be giggling at that. But this flew under the radar. I was talking to him today, and I just said, "What sort of year did you have?" And he said 180 winners, and I was like, "Wow, hasn't he just crept up?" Especially considering he was, when they were in lockdown, he himself and Michael Bellman, they were hardly getting a drive, let alone a winner.
Oh yeah, but I think that has been compensated a little bit by the longer season. Remember? But
yeah.
He's just solid. He's just solid, Herbie. He's the number one driver for a number of good stables. Not big stables yet, but I think he's a great driver of trotters, Paul. I really think there's something about him on a trotter, and I know he has driven a terrific race recently on a trotter named Andrew, which you may remember, I'm not sure.
Do you know who won the Central Victorian Trotters Championship? Good, thanks.
No, hanging on.
Good, thanks.
Hanging on a dream.
Good, thanks.
Okay.
She won it. I took a photo. I was going to send it to you, and I forgot it. Yeah, the mother. Good, thanks. So I knew Andrew would come into it at some stage.
Anyway, and James did have that great run with Savannah JJ, which ties into Neil McCallum as well. But I think he's had a lot of success on trotters. There's a lot of medium-sized stables using him as their number one man, and it's only he's going to be in this sport for a long time. He'll drive 5,000 winners or something, won't he? Like he's a great kid. He makes mistakes. He tells you when he makes a mistake before you've asked him about it. I've got a lot of time for him.
I done an interview with him afterwards, just a sit-down one that'll come up on Campbell's Comments in a few days, but pretty enlightening. He possibly was going to go to New Zealand with Natalie and Mark. That was on the radar for him as something potentially that he may have done, and the fact that they're coming out here really might be a little bit of a different slant on James Herbertson going forward, which was really eye-opening, actually, to be honest. So, yeah, good story. I'll have to get it out before SEN track goes to air, Daniel. Otherwise, they'll be claiming exclusives, and I've already got it. So I better make sure I get there, eh? Yeah, mate.
I was just going to say, having a look at the premierships from the end of the season, he's ended up having the third most drives of any driver in the state as well. So he's had just under 1,400 drives for the year, which is an incredible amount. I mean, he's won looking at the concession. I mean, he's ended up winning the concession drivers by about 90 wins in the end. So it just goes to show that the year that he's had, the dominant year that he's had as a concession driver, not that he have a claim or anything like that, but that's a hell of a season to drive 184 winners, and he drove 206 seconds, which is it's amazing in itself. So he's had an amazing year, and he's a great driver, and it's really good for the sport.
I was fortunate.
3 minutes. That's 3 minutes 26, Paul.
That's what?
3 minutes 26.
What's that?
206 seconds.
I was fortunate enough to have been able to go to
what makes you work that out that quick?
Jody's. He's got a calculator under the desk, Daniel. Don't give him too much credence. Jody's 60th birthday. And can I just say one thing? How James is not the side of the house, the way Ash can cook. You'll go a long way to find better scallops wrapped in bacon anywhere. I don't care. You can take me to any 5-star restaurant. Ash Herbertson plays them on a dime. Absolutely sensational. Bev Clover's pavlova. If my mum watches this, I'm in all sorts of trouble, but it was the best pavlova eaten. 5 servings of pav. Couldn't run the next day.
I'm sure I've had better scallops, Paul, and I'm going to remain like that till he serves me up a plateful.
Yep, and then that's it. You'll be gone. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, I'll take you there one day. Absolutely.
We've had a plate full of scallops. That's all I'm interested in here.
And Daniel, Aaron Dunn. I don't know if you've had a lot to do with Aaron Dunn, but Steve from Blacktown, or Stevie Blacker, alluded to me at Bendigo the other night when he won. I think he won the bronze, actually, with the 3-year-olds. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but 50 winners for a season for a man that's... Kenya, that's it, exactly.
Kenya.
And it was a great win, actually. 50 winners for the season is great effort, especially for a young man. Well, he's not a young man, but a man that's probably just really embarking on his first full-time grab at it, and he got stuck down with COVID as well, like a few of us. So, yeah, he's done a good job, Dunny, I reckon.
It just goes to show, we have a lot of hobbyists and that in the sport that might only have 2 or 3 horses, that sort of thing, and and a lot of people just, that's the way they start out in the sport. But when they do have the ability to just put more time into it, and that they can, and that's essential that it all boils down to is time and money and resources and things like that. If you're able to apply yourself and put enough time into it, you can certainly make a living out of it. It's hard work, obviously. But as we've seen, 50 winners for the year, I mean, that's a hell of an achievement. We've gone on about Kate and Alex having 100 and odd winners, and then you've got your biggest stables. It's a massive effort just to get horses to the track, let alone have winners every week. But to have 50 over the course of the season, a lot of work goes into that, and he's got to be rewarded with a great year. And it's a hell of an effort because it's not easy in this sport, and he deserves a lot of credit for that effort.
Absolutely. Just quickly on Kate and Alex, 20 winners for the month of December. That's an amazing. Noel Ridge supplied me with that, 20 winners. So Don't Care brought up their number 20, which is just pretty amazing considering it's almost, 1.5. What is? Oh no, I won't even go. It's late and I'm getting tired. One, guys, that I didn't do a
tight. Ask the calculator below you.
One, no, I didn't.
1.5. What do you want?
Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Just leave it. Just let it go, Kimball. No. It'll be fine. The one-armed man can get it sorted later on. One that I did see there before when I was looking through some of those results, and I did want to highlight it because I think that's what we try to do is just see young people. Taylor's French's Drive at Kilmore, guys, on Lexington Queen. For Luke Bryant. Luke only trains a small team horses, presents them immaculate. You'll go a long way to find a better presented horse anywhere. It doesn't matter what he does. Little petite trotter. Drew Pole was in 4-back, 5-back defence, and she just got it through a beautiful little needle eye opening. Never panicked with it. She works for Chris Finozio. I know you have a lot to do with her, Tobes, and she does a really, really good job. She wears Claire's colours. She wore Claire's colours for the while they were in COVID lockdown and the like. She's a terrific kid, but she did a really, really good job on that trotter. And, she made me run halfway around Kilmore just to get her for an interview, but I got it, so it was all good. But, I just thought it was a great drive, and I want to highlight it. Going forward, while we're talking about it, we're going to try and do that. We're going to try and incorporate some more video footage. And the likes. We've had a few issues, but I think I'm on top of those things, so we'll be able to get a few videos in where the boys can listen to them as well, so they're not just sitting there at the other end, start like Toby is right now, ready to go to sleep, and we could go from there.
I just want to see the footage of it getting through a knee-high opening.
Needle eye opening. I had me tongue around. It's late. I haven't had much sleep. Leave me alone. Rightio, topics. You guys are going to have to go. Tobes, what's your topic, mate? I'll throw to you because I haven't got a spreadsheet, so I've got no idea. So
it's not a hard hitting one, actually, Paul. At the moment, we've got Breeders' Crown November, Vic Breed in December. I would rather see it the other way around. I'd rather have the Vic Breed in November and then have the Breeders' Crown as the grand final. And the other little thing I add to that is that the Vic Bred winner should get an automatic entry into the Breeders' Crown straight in, and the New South Wales Breeders' Challenge winner straight in to the Breeders' Crown, and the Queen Q-Bred winner straight in, and then your 6 or 7 states, they get automatic entry straight in, and everyone else is fighting out to get into the last 4 or 5. What you're trying to do there is you've got all your state series, and then you're making the Breeders' Crown the absolute ultimate best of the best. You're representing your state almost in the Breeders' Crown. A real championship final.
I don't mind your idea, except for potentially they'll say, they want the Vic Bred. Each state would say they want their own state one going forward. He's grinning because he knows I love to argue. Is the Breeders' Crown not going to March? I might be wrong, but I thought I saw the Breeders' Crown was getting moved to March next year, so just a totally different time slot. I don't mind the idea, Topes. I probably prefer that personally. One leading up to Christmas, whether it is New Year's or whatever, and then one leading into winter time, but make sure it's way before. Do not run them in August. March, April even. Do not go much later than that, so that we've still got the good weather. But and then they've got the whole winter to get off, spring to get ready, and go into that and see some quality racing, likes of Kimballs and those things. I think they're no fluke winning, because I think people were able to get the work into them. You definitely wouldn't race a horse the next day in the middle of winter trying to get it ready for a sires race, because you get a cold, wet day and they're stuck there all day. No, it wouldn't work at all. So yes, Daniel, your topic for the day.
Yeah, it's just it's a little bit to do with what happened today with the Central Victorian Championship. It's to do with the zone races, the zone race series. Obviously, the Central Victorian Zone, which is Borton, Charlton, Wedderburn, St Arnaud, and Maryborough. They had their time in the sun today. But my concern is with the zone series with the Tontine, which is obviously the Southwest Club. The George Croxford Tribute, which is in the northeast, and then you've got the northern zone and then the eastern zone as well. We reverted back to just a one-race series instead of traditional heats to get into a final, and I think that was a bit of a backward step for the series, for each of the zone series. I mean, we have the heats and semis now for the Vic Bred. We make those sort of races very important. And these races in these particular zones, a lot of them are very time-honoured, particularly the Central Vic and the Tontine. They both had some absolute champions win those races through the years. I know they're for the country class horses, but they've often produced some absolute guns as winners. But having just the one-race series, I think we really need to go back to a heat and finals. Certainly this time of year, the Central Victorian Championship's always been around this time of year and used to have the 4 meetings at each of the clubs, and then the final somewhere sort of towards the end of January. The Croxford Tribute, it was generally February, I think, and then the Tontine was sort of a bit later in the year. We need to promote these races more because of the tradition that they used to have. You want to see some really nice horses racing in these races. I know this year, certainly from a Central Victorian perspective, the two races today were certainly not as elite as you would like to see. I'd say Emma's horse that won the Pacing final is a very nice horse, so that probably does show that it is a nice horse. But I'd rather see heats and finals, so you get some really good horses in the final. Thank you, Toby. So I think we need to go back to that format where there's 3 or 4 heats, and if you run in the first 2 or 3, you get into the final. And then obviously the standing start issue, which the Central Victorian Pacing Championship always was, that's another issue in itself. But I think we need to go. I think those series need to be go back to a heat and final and make them more. You don't have to increase the prize money or anything like that, but just make them more prestigious by making it a heat and final. You've got to really earn it to win it, rather than just a one-off race. And I'd like to see that happen in the next season or two.
Paul, I'll raise Daniel. I'd make them all the regions in the same time, January, February, and then I'd run a super final at Melton where the winners of each zone and the second horse and the third horse all go into a final at Melton, make the final worth $60,000, $70,000. So then you got a heat at every club worth 10, you got a regional final worth 25, and then a final, if you could, for 60 or 70 or something at Melton. And all of a sudden, you're talking about 26 $10,000 heats. That's $260,000. You're talking about 4 $25,000 finals or five. You're talking nearly a $500,000 series all of a sudden, where every club can then follow their horse through as well. Each zone then has a horse at Melton on the night, and it'd be real country comes to town night at Melton as well, where we could really celebrate the country clubs.
Make it a bit tribal.
Yeah,
Mate.
Bit tribal, big tick for what Daniel's saying, agree 100%, and I would just add that next layer of getting them all in about the same time slot and then sending them to Melton for a final, and I think it'd be wonderful.
Daniel, are you sitting down, mate?
Paul's going to agree with me here.
Yeah.
He's going to agree.
He's gone the early crow. No, well, that was my topic as well, was the Central Vic's. Been there today and seen the fall from grace. I was actually just on my phone. People probably think, what was he doing, being rude? I was trying to, the 1990, I can't actually even remember, Imprimatur. I was trying to type in his name. I couldn't remember his name. But
Thompson.
yeah, exactly. He got beat at Wedderburn by Nuclear Bomber in a heat of the Central Victorian Championship. Yeah. Yeah, I ran fourth on a horse called Attack. I think Kentucky George ran sixth on the same day. I couldn't remember the whole field, but I was going. It was a cracking, and we were talking today, Joey Thompson. Joey's horse was on the up. He was a young horse coming through, so they were restricted racing him, and they were bringing him through. Attack, Semi Pellegrino, he hit him. He was trialling, and he was trialling under different names because they did that back then in those days. I wasn't allowed to show him up. I was in races, and he said, yep, he'll be right next week, he'll be right. And then gets to Maryborough, and he says, do not get beat, in his big bellowing voice. And I didn't get beat that day at Maryborough, I can tell you. It was just this great series, and there was all this skullduggery going leading up to it. People really, really wanted to win it. It just was flat today. And you know, it just sort of definitely, talking about timing, was the wrong time. Because this huge build up to Thursday, and then it just dropped off. And I'm no different. Everyone's in the same boat. You've got Christmas, you've got New Year's. They race our biggest races. The next couple of days, there's always has to be a drop off. Like, you're flat out holding your head up. People can't keep going all that time, and to drop it on that first weekend after was probably bad timing as well. So definitely they've got to look at something. And I love Toby's idea. Tobes, I know you got something to say. I'll give you this to think about while you're doing it. What about if we race it in the winter time, and maybe not in the winter time, but because we're going to drop the racing back leading into the winter time perhaps, and give a few of the outer season ones, maybe, I don't know, just different time slot.
I don't care, Paul, but I was just going to liken the drop-off from Vicbred to the next day is a bit like us on a Monday morning, you know, after the thrill and excitement of recording this till near midnight, and then you've got to get up on a Monday morning and you're just so flat.
Thank you, Toby, for your brilliant words of wisdom.
That one was for James Luby.
Hey?
That one was for James Luby. He missed me last week. He commented on Twitter, no caterpillars. Jamesy.
I got some bad news. He's been pulled down off Twitter too, so it's okay. I do still talk to him, and he does watch the show, so don't worry. He'll be enjoying the caterpillars. He watches on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. Be sensational. But again, there's different ways around that, which is what we're doing. Rightio, we have just about come to a close. We do not have a Woodlands winner because of that drop-off in a way, but we will say a big thank you to Mark.
Kimball.
And Kimball, the mother of Kimball. It's a mother of a lot of horses. Yes, we know, with the Bettor's Delight. Daniel, the head wobble. I'm gonna have to get one of those little dolls, Toby, that wobbles alongside as we're doing it. Hibberd, and the Barristock winner for the month. Is this seriously this horse's name? Is it really named Toby McKinnon?
Yes, it is. It's crazy, isn't it? It's called Mummy's Boy. Yeah, we're going very well with our selections. I don't think any of them, touch wood, have missed so far. Even the extra ones that we've given the viewers have managed to win at their first or second start after their trial. So we're going all right.
Hang on, where's Spencer?
Yeah, well, except him.
Oh,
he went all right the other night.
Can I get some popcorn? I'll be back in a minute.
I just gotta put you guys back where it belongs here, and I can.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Anyway. So it was a hard night at Shep the Trials the other night. There's probably two. I probably may have pulled the wrong rain here, but anyway, we'll see how we go. Mummy's Boy was a nice trial winner. It was only a 3-horse trial. It was in against a couple of other. Well, one was a faster class horse. The name escapes me at the moment, but he got up on the sprint lane and won. They ran home in a pretty nice half. He's only a 60-odd rater, so he'll probably find a nice race and be pretty competitive in that. The other one that was there on the night was Pensini. It's a 2-year-old for Stephen Duffy, and it goes round debuts this week. So it was the other one. But Mummy's Boy looks as if it'll go all right the next time it goes around the race.
Let's start putting some pressure on you. Bit of Craig Rail about you, thank you. Barristock winner can come from outside of Shepparton. Let's put some pressure on you. Let's take on the meaning, Craig Rail. I do a little bit of trots vision. I must.
Yep.
Toby's up for it too.
Great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, great idea, Paul. He's picked 9 out of 10 winners, so let's change it up.
Well, Spencer hasn't won.
9 out of 10. What's that for you? This thing's raced, Mummy Boy. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a good name. Kirsten Graham done a huge job on Trots Vision the other night. She found one from Ararat Trials. Young Sam Barker took a horse to Ararat Trials. So I looked at it. I said, I don't know what you can get out of its trial form. I think it trialled against a 7-year-old maiden, a 3-year-old trotter, and a 2-year-old, or something along those lines. It was a 3-year-old having its first start, and she came out with the pearls of wisdom that Leroy O'Brien's little horse trialled on the same night, and there was about 200ths of a second difference in the time. And I thought, yep, that'll do. That will, and it duly saluted and well done to young Sam at Bendigo. Won the last race on Vicbred night, silver and bronze night. It was a great win, very, very good win for a young man who doesn't like talking a lot, that's for sure. Gentlemen, what's on for this week? We're going to start promoting ourselves as well because we've got plenty going on, all three. Tobes, what have you got going on, mate?
I've got SEN Track, Trots Life, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 1583. You can also stream it live, Paul, after some big exclusives last week with David Moran on and announcing he's going to America. I've got that. Then I've got Terang Thursday, Melton Friday, Bendigo Saturday, and then Charlton Monday week. So I'll be out and about.
Not tomorrow, yeah, next week. Yep, okay. Which is, yeah, this is going to air on Monday, not Sunday. Remember that. We're not going live.
Yeah.
Hey?
Don't want to ruin the illusion for people.
What the yellow light you and I have got going, no one can work out what's happening. Daniel, yourself?
Well, I obviously called the dogs at Shep on New Year's Eve, and that went really good. Got trials at Shep on Thursday. I think Cobram Cup on Sunday. Promises to be a big day. Not sure exactly what will be happening there at the moment. We'll certainly find out in the next few days, but looks like it's going to be a good day up there at Cobram. We are having a crowd, so there'll be a limit of 1,000 people will be allowed to come in. We've probably got space, enough grass there to have 35,000, but we'll take the 1,000. Yeah, it's going to be a good day there on Sunday after the Bendigo Cup on Saturday night, and hopefully we've got some good racing up there on Sunday.
Yep, very true.
And Paul, I'll just finish off and just a heartfelt congratulations on the effort with Son of a Trump, and between you and Marie and Holly, and it's just a wonderful effort and a great story for the industry and the sport. And I'm not too serious with you too often, so I've made sure it's at the end of the show, and most people won't see it. So it was just absolutely bloody terrific. You know, I was connected to the race in another way. Claire and my brother own a share in Dell's Destiny, and I couldn't have been happy for if I had a message off to you straight away. Claire was absolutely pumped as well. Was just absolutely state-of-the-art harness racing.
To say that we've been blown away is an understatement. But yeah, we were pretty pumped just to get him back to the track, I must say. And we did an interview, myself and Holly, and yeah, we just didn't want him to run last. That was the only thing we probably didn't want in. Well, when I say last, he could have run last, but to disgrace himself. But yeah, I tell you, you want to know how you get hairs on the back of Daniel? This is one thing I think you, as a race caller as well, you glean things. Dan Malecki said something prior to him calling him winning, but he just said, he was probably 20, 25 metres off him, and Dan goes, and son of a Trump, and it was just the way he said it. I'm like, we might be half a chance here. And then the next time he was like, no, this horse is more than a chance now. It was just something about Dan Malecki when he didn't say he's the winner. He didn't. It's just the tone that he used at that time. And it's a unique gift that yeah, and then that was, and I've got to say, huge well done to my daughter. The early crow, I hate the early crow, anyone that does it. I can promise you, she was at the corner of my eye. We were watching the race. We're standing out of the wind next to the saddle bar up against the glass wall, but she was just alongside me. Marie was in front. I can tell you not one of us moved one muscle that last 250 metres. We just sat and then waited till Dan said he's home. He was across them, then it was off. But, yeah, we were very, very pumped. So, yeah. Pressure's back on her now, Tobes. Don't worry about it. She's got to go and win a show jumping contest now. I'm going to love this. So, yeah. Might be her way of getting me to some of these events, I must say. But, yeah. But that's what harness racing horses are about. They're great stories, and we're going to try and bring them. Going forward, I'm going to try and get some stuff going with both of you guys. We're going to try and bring some more of these sort of stories and get them out there. There's so many stories, like James Herbertson driving 180 winners. It's not something that happens every day, and all the rest. And I think we probably sell ourselves a little bit short. I think there's so many things. Sorry, Todd.
A fair effort, 180 in a day, Paul.
Yes,
a fair effort.
Yes, Mr. Kimball. That's about it. I will be at Bendigo on what night is it? I don't even know what night it is. Saturday night, I think. So, yeah, that'll be it. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. This has been On Loose Lines for another week, and we will be back next Monday afternoon at 4:30. Thank you, boys.